Oh, did we? Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is Wednesday's Q&A. So great to have you all here. I'm Dr. Janine, and let's talk about your questions today. So it's hashtag Ask Dr. Janine. If you do have questions based on yesterday's show, please put them in the comments section. Hey, if you just want to say hello, do that as well. Let me know where you're from. And it's so great to have you all here. It's wonderful on Wednesdays, isn't it, that we have some time together and you can ask me your questions. Okay, so if you missed yesterday's show, of course on Tuesdays is the Dr. Janine Show. If you missed yesterday's show, we talked about my new beauty secret and what you can do with the face taping with a new technique. If you want me to review that, I can. We also talked about tips for bad breath. Yes, I'm holding Mr. Fat because we made a low-fat, low-carb, high-protein ice cream recipe yesterday, which is amazing if you're trying to lose weight and you still like the sweet taste of things and you love your ice cream, but you don't want to have the fat and the carbs. Well, we did that recipe and I'm going to review that with you if you want to see that. We also talked about the health benefits of the sun and what is better for fat loss. And this was a study done for women, weight training versus resistance, which is resistance training, versus our cardio, or a combination of both. What was the best? Let me know if you remember from yesterday. Good morning, Kathy. Nice to see you. Actually, good afternoon, depending on where you're at. Nice to see you. Hello, Bella. Thank you for tuning in. Shalom. Nice to have you here. Thank you for tuning in. Exactly. It's not, for some people it is good morning. For others, it is, of course, other parts of the world, it is different times of the day. It's so great to have you all here. Zana wants to know how to lose that weight. Obadi, thank you for the follow today, this afternoon. Great to have you here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So yes, this is something that we talked about yesterday, and most episodes when we're talking about weight loss, we're talking about our leptin resistance and, of course, balancing our hormone levels. Insulin resistance is very much tied into our ability to actually lose or not be able to lose that weight. And it's so important that we're controlling our leptin signaling. Dr. Ranjit is in the house. Hello, and thank you for tuning in. Saved by Grace as well. Nice to see you in Alabama. Tony is also here in Toronto. Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. White Mazda as well is here. Dan 5873 from NH, New Hampshire. Did I get that right? Nice to have you here. Rapino Marie in Florida. Abigail is in Ohio. Nice to have you here. Serious Knight is in Australia. Hello, good day. Nice to have you here. Thank you for tuning in. Ayusha Wale in India. Nice to have you here. And Tia Marie 71 in San Francisco. Hello, hello. Good afternoon. Keeping up with the Bogles. Did I get that right? Nice to see you. Thank you for tuning in. Great to have you all here. Okay, so I did have some questions that came in during yesterday's show. I want to look at those as well as today, and the commenting that continues on my videos, on the long form video, where you can definitely always access those questions. So we did talk about yesterday what is better for that fat loss. So study done that I was able to search out, and of course you know that I'm doing my research all the time, weight training versus cardio, and what's better for fat loss. And this was a study done on women. Let's pull that up really quickly. And it was interesting. So they took some ladies who were overweight and they put some of them on just resistance training, so lifting weights. The other ones they did just cardio. And then they took some and in the same session did cardio and weights. So if you want to look up this, it's a really great article. And this was a randomized control trial in women that were overweight, a combination. So it was the combination of resistance training and aerobic exercise was better than either type of exercise alone for improving body composition and fitness levels. So that's something that is remarkable. How many people do just resistance training? Put a 1 in the comments. If you do just cardio in your sessions, put a 2 in the comments. And if you do a combination of both, put a 3 in the comments. I'm very curious, male, female, whoever you are, I want to know, how are we doing this? So resistance, Mark, you're doing resistance training. Yes, okay. Mark, you do number 2 as well. So you do, and then you do cardio, but you're not combining. Britt is doing cardio, yes. And Blanca, is also doing the combination. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Keeping up with the Bogles. Yes, you're doing both. And Mags 98989, it's not working. Interesting. Maybe you have to lift a little bit heavier. Okay, a lot of people are doing the combination of both your cardio and your strength training in the same session. So isn't that interesting? Okay, awesome. I hope it's working for everybody. And that was just one study, of course, but I thought it was interesting because a lot of people are challenged when they're trying to lose that weight or maintain their weight or even gain weight. If you need to build some muscle mass, of course, as you're aging, it can be more difficult. So that combination may be best if that is what you're trying to target to do. Now, here's the thing with exercise that I haven't always said. If you have leptin resistance, so until you fix your leptin resistance, that exercise is actually not recommended. And some people who hate to exercise, they love this fact when I talk about this. They're like, woohoo, yeah, I don't have to exercise. Well, fix the leptin resistance first, and then you're gonna get better results with your exercise, because exercise, we know, is a stressor on the body. And when you're trying to balance your hormones, it's not always the best thing, especially with your insulin sensitivity and your leptin signaling. You gotta get back into sync with nature, remember, with fixing that leptin resistance, especially to burn off that fat. Okay, yesterday we did talk about bad breath. I want to go there now. Let's go on over here, because a question came in, and let me review, of course, the tips for bad breath. So let's go through them. Of course, bad breath can be caused by a bad bacteria in the mouth. If you are not a nose breather, so if you're a mouth breather, especially at nighttime, you snore, that could be a cause for bad breath as well. If you have acid reflux, that is another cause of that bad breath. If you have poor digestion in general as well, another cause for that bad breath. But let's go through my tips really quickly. This is what we talked about yesterday. So of course, brushing and flossing regularly. Always make sure that your products, though, that you're using in your mouth do not contain fluoride. Remember, that's going to mess up your thyroid gland. So avoid fluoride. This is important. Even in your drinking water, if you're not filtering your water, if you're drinking tap water, this is a big problem in a lot of areas, of course, in the world where they're dumping fluoride into the water. And they're not dumping it there for the reason that you would think. You can look that up. It's really interesting. Okay, number 2. Consider doing some parasite and candida cleansing. So fixing that microbiome in the mouth, also your digestive microbiome, is going to be important. And certain herbal medicines are really good at cleaning up this ecology, and that can be targeting some of those less favorable organisms that can be causing the bad breath. Of course, the full body detox always goes hand in hand with doing some parasite and candida cleansing, as well as limiting the sugar. So often those less favorable organisms, they love sugar. So the more that you feed them with eating a lot of sugar, refined sugar in your diet, it makes it all that much worse. Okay, so you got to limit the sugars. Chew parsley. So parsley is fantastic, as well as apple, because it helps to counteract the sulfur compounds that are in certain foods, like garlic breath. If you've ever experienced that, or if you eat a lot of onions, you can have that sulfur causing that bad breath. So the parsley and the apples actually neutralize that, which is amazing. We talked about that yesterday. And it was one of our quiz questions yesterday. So if you missed the show, don't forget on Tuesdays, of course, I ask quiz questions. So make sure that you're tuning in so that you can always participate, and we play for a prize every week. And of course, in next week's show, I will announce yesterday's winner, okay? As well as mouth taping. So if you've not ever tried mouth taping, this is something that if you are not nose breathing, you're a mouth breather, you can of course do this during the day. If you're, okay with having tape on your mouth, maybe you're at home or you work from home and you're not on a camera or whatever, you can tape your mouth to just force that nasal breathing, but also at nighttime. So just keeping your lips open, I'll do it on Lucy here, keeping your lips open just a little bit, applying some tape very gently. This is kinesiology tape. You don't need to use this type. You could use like a semi-opaque sort of medical tape, and just gently keeping a little slat there so that, if you're panicking and you feel like you're suffocating, at least you can breathe through your mouth if you absolutely need to. But this is sending a signal now to the brain that you should be closing the mouth and forcing that nasal breathing. And that's important, because if you look at the turbinates in the brain, I just went in the nose actually, I'm going to show you really quickly, because that's going to help to hydrate. That's one of the reasons why, do you see those little sort of tunnel thingies here? The turbinates, that's going to help with the proper airflow flow to actually help to humidify the air, warm up the air as it's passing through these turbinates. And that's what the body prefers, is that warmed up and humidified air. It does so much more for having that proper oxygenation, your proper blood flow, as that translates into that whole combination of your oxygen, your blood, and your cardiovascular health as well, okay? So try taping that mouth. I have some videos on how to do that, all right? Now, I know, any other questions from yesterday's show, make sure you're putting them in the comments. And, okay, so maybe we'll look, Rosanito is asking about the parasite cleansing and candida. Do we have my herbal medicines, my Cabo, on hand that we can take a look at that really quickly? All right, here's my favorite combination of herbal medicines for killing the candida and the parasites. Cloves, artemisia, black walnut, oregano. It's called Cabo. It's something that I take in combination in one supplement, so my friends, you know, my team behind the scenes can help to fill you in what you can look for, but that is amazing at getting rid of some of those bad guys in the gut, in your microbiome. Any other questions? Thank you. Juan Montiel, Mexico is in the house. Hola, hola, nice to have you here. Thank you for tuning in today. Gareth, hello, nice to see you. 6 half dozen, cardio and weight training go hand in hand. Yeah, for a lot of people, absolutely. Marsha from Jamaica, hello, good day, nice to see you. Thank you for tuning in. And thank you so much for everybody who's here today. There's somebody typing in German, and I'm not sure I can read. Thank you very much. Aaron, thank you for tuning in. Good to have you all here. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And okay, so now thyroid issues, that's something that I've talked a lot about. Often the thyroid issue is related to your lack of connection with your environment. So whether it's hypo or hyper, often this ties back to that leptin resistance that I talked about just a few moments ago. So that's something you can look up in my content, and something that we can talk about in a future show as well. Now, we did make that beautiful ice cream yesterday. So the high protein ice cream, I know a lot of you are asking for the recipe. If you want to screenshot this really quickly, we'll do a quick review. And I used, of course, a whey protein. And another question came in as to what's the difference between the different types of protein. I'll get to that in just a second. But in this recipe, absolutely delicious. You are using any type of milk. And of course, this is a whey protein isolate, which is a functional protein, the one that I use from VitaTree. This one is really important in the fact that it actually helps to heal your gut. So it's great for leaky gut. It is a functional protein. So it's more than just a protein powder. It actually has health benefits as well. Collagen powder, of course, for the beauty benefits. And of course, a pinch of salt. You need a bit of salt in ice cream to really bring out that flavor and the sweetness. I use the monk fruit sweetener. I just like it a little bit sweeter, even though the protein powder on its own is sweet, but I just like it a little bit sweeter. I just find it's better. A half a teaspoon of xanthan gum. This is completely optional, but this really helps with the texture and the creaminess. And it incorporates everything, but also the collagen helps to do that as well. And then you mix in later the peanut butter, and if you want, of course, a tablespoon of chocolate chips. I use a semi-sweet or a lower carb chocolate chip. It's totally up to you. If you want to cheat a little bit with the sugar here, like mini M&Ms or whatever you want, Oreos, you could do that as well. But you didn't hear that from me, just kidding. All right, so yeah, a little bit of sugar is probably not the worst thing, but it is a low carb ice cream, high protein, which is delicious. So I want to tell you what happened yesterday. So of course I showed it to you, and of course it was on the set here, and all of my 3 sons were all here yesterday, and so my middle son, he grabbed it off the set when we were done the live show yesterday, and he started eating and eating. He's like, Mom, you got to make more of this at home. And delicious. Kid approved, absolutely delicious. And he doesn't even know like all that stuff that I just told you that doesn't have sugar and all that, because it tastes sweet. It tastes like regular ice cream without any of the bad stuff, and high protein. So if you do work out, then that is amazing. All right. Protein powder, yes. Okay, so the difference between a whey protein isolate, a whey concentrate, and a question came in about bone broth. What's the difference here? Okay, bone broth I often liken to a collagen. So when we saw in my recipe, we had both a protein powder and the collagen. That's something that the bone broth, the amino acids are very similar to a collagen. So very different from the amino acid file of a whey isolate versus a concentrate. Now, an isolate you have now in the processing, and which is a good thing, of that whey, it's removed most of the casein and any of the things that can cause, the casein is the protein that in dairy products that can cause a lot of, digestive upset for if you're sensitive to dairy products. So that whey isolate is going to be usually a cross microfiltration process that it's gone through. It's removed the allergenic compounds for most people, and that's why I like the isolate. Okay, so a concentrate is much less expensive, and that's why even if it says on your protein powder, it's going to say, whey protein isolate, you really have to read the ingredients, because it usually is a combination of the isolate, which is much more expensive, plus the concentrate, and that's when they sneak in. That's a less expensive variety. It's usually not as pure, and that's what can cause a lot of digestive upset. A lot of people who take protein powders, a whey protein powder, you don't know the difference, and you can get a bit gassy, you don't feel well. That's why I've always preferred, and the actual bioavailability of an isolate is superior because you have those extra components have been removed from the concentrate. So you get more bang for your buck. It is more expensive, but a whey isolate is going to be better for your digestion and better for that bioavailability. So you get more protein and those amino acids are properly absorbed. The bone broth is more like a collagen. That's a great question. So thank you, whoever sent that in. Love that question. Okay. All right. So I know some questions are coming through about leptin resistance. That's good. And was there another question? Yes. Okay. We did talk about sun exposure yesterday. I'm going to go over here really quickly and we'll review a little bit about, we talked about, yes, we all know that vitamin D is great. Natural sunlight exposure gives us vitamin D, which is good for our bone density. It's great for our immune system. But did you know all of these other health benefits of natural sunlight exposure? So of course, weight loss, trying to get that weight off, hunger control, and this goes back to that whole mechanism with our leptin resistance. So this is really important. Being in tune with nature and seeing the sun at the right times of day, of course, in the darkness at night, that puts our circadian biology into sync with nature so that our internal environment is working cohesively with our external environment. When there's a mismatch there and we're getting the wrong signals between our brain and our organ clocks, so of course we have a master clock in our brain, the SCN, as well as we have clocks in all of our different organ systems, and they have to be properly coordinated. The one in the brain is something that was discovered by Dr. Martin Moore-Eid and his fellow colleagues at Harvard, and I actually interviewed him. So that is a great interview. If you've missed it, please check it out on my channel. That has my podcasts. You can listen to it, you can watch it. That's an amazing interview. And that's all about our circadian biology. And he's been studying it for over 30 years now, the importance of how we have to be in tune with the light and dark cycles of the day, as well as cardiovascular benefits of getting that natural sunlight exposure. It regulates our insulin. So diabetics who spend more time in the sun, they actually have to alter and lower their insulin if they're on insulin. Isn't that interesting? Increases your melanin. Now, melanin is important. So the darker you become with your melanin, the more protective it is in terms of your entire body, your immune system, your brain function. I mean, I could go on and on. So increasing your melanin, getting some sunlight exposure, and that's the UV rays, of course, which are usually stronger midday. That's going to be really important for longevity as well, which is interesting. Good mood, of course, because it affects our dopamine levels, our serotonin levels, better cognition and memory, so affecting that brain function, better sleep, of course, because that is the programming of your circadian biology and your melatonin secretion. You need to have that proper sunlight during the day, as well as your circadian biology, your circadian rhythms, your bone density. We know, of course, vitamin D and hormonal regulation. So leptin is very much tied to this entire system as well in terms of being able to get that natural sunlight exposure. So I hope that helps, because a lot of people, as soon as I say, I have conversations with people all the time, and when they find out what I do, that I'm a naturopath, and they ask me questions, and I've written a few books, and they want to know, okay, the sun, yeah, because I always say, go get more sun, especially if I see somebody who's very pale and they're complaining about XYZ problems that they've got with their health. I'm like, you need to get outside and get some more sun, especially in the months that we have the ability to do it, where I live here in Canada, but of course it's summer summertime in most places right now, get some sun. If you're not getting some sun, you're not building your melanin, this is going to be a problem for your overall health. And so, so that's a big thing. And everybody always says, okay, yeah, the sun, I need my vitamin D. No, it's so much more. It's so much more. Everybody and all the research looks at vitamin D, but there's so much more to natural sunlight exposure. And that's why I really wanted to give you a list of 10 different things why we need the sun. You can't listen to everything you hear out there about put a slap on the sunscreen. All my Aussies that are out there, slip, slop, slap, right? Slap on the sunscreen, put on your sunglasses. I say completely the opposite because the evidence shows that that's what we need for good overall health. Okay, who's with me here? Give me a thumbs up. Thank you for all the love coming in. Hey, if you're new here, make sure that you are following, you are subscribed so that you get a lot more of this wonderful information that I share based on all the research that I do. Of course, thank you, Fiker111, for sharing today's live. It's great to have you here. I know there's a bunch of people here. Britt, you're with me. Yes, good information about the sun. You can show me some suns as well. Bella, I love your emojis. Before we came live, I was talking about your emojis, and you're like the emoji queen. Love it, love it, love it. It is so fantastic. And Bella, you put a pinch of salt in your lemonade. Isn't that smart? Yes, so balancing your electrolytes, especially when you're in the sun, is really important as well. Monique, yes, hello, thank you for being here. Awesome, and there's all the ice cream emojis. Okay, I hope did somebody start the ice cream recipe yesterday? I know, if you don't yet have an ice cream machine, you could do it in a blender as well, that recipe. So let me know how it goes. Dreamy, yes, a fellow Canadian, nice to have you here. Thank you for tuning in. Okay, let me just review really quickly what we talked about in the beauty session. Okay, so we were in the beauty set yesterday, and I shared a new little hack that I've discovered for helping to smooth out your complexion and your skin, all right? So this is really amazing. Now, you've seen me do the face taping before, but in terms of actually sort of calming down any contractions that are happening, and of course with our facial, expressions, we use our facial muscles, but when we're sleeping, these should be nice and relaxed. And it's kind of like a natural Botox effect to actually put the tape in different regions of the face that you can actually sort of calm down and slow down that muscular contraction, relax those muscles, and then that will help to relax the look of what's happening on your nice clear skin. Now, what I've discovered is something called scar tape, all right? So scar tape is amazing, and because you can actually reuse it, but for a lot of people who do have skin sensitivities to the adhesives, this in terms of the scar tape, usually for most people is very gentle, and it's like a silicone type of material, and because it's reusable, this is fantastic. And all you're gonna do is you're gonna cut a piece, and depending on where you're using it, yesterday we talked about the forehead and the crow's feet area. And first, what I like to do is I apply a little bit of castor oil into my hand and a couple drops of frankincense essential oil, which is known to be very soothing to the skin. It is quite sticky and tacky, and it still works. So this will still adhere even though you've put the castor oil on the skin. So you're going to cleanse your face first. Then you're going to apply that combination of the castor oil, the frankincense. You don't need to. You could put this directly on your bare skin if you wanted to, but I just like the added benefit of the castor oil, which helps to get rid of the wrinkles as well. And then all you're going to do is smooth out your skin as best as possible. And after you have applied your oil mixture, and attach this to your skin. Now you can always do a patch test the day before. Put a little bit of this scar tape on your wrist and make sure that your body's not reacting to that. And then you apply that at bedtime, then you go to bed. Now here's the thing with this type of tape. Sometimes it forms little wrinkles depending on how you squish your face when you're sleeping, which I do. I'm a side sleeper, so often this can get a little bit wrinkled. And then when you peel it off at first, thing in the morning, and you're ready to start your day, you can see like, oh, there's some like wrinkles here from the tape itself. So all you're going to do now, as you're brushing your teeth and you're doing your morning routine, you're going to smooth it out again and just reapply it, and you will see what happens. So then after 2-3 minutes or whatever, or longer as you're getting dressed, whatever, then you take it off again, and it's like, woo, it is amazing how smooth that's going to be. So I want you to try that. It is an amazing hack, and you'll love, what the castor oil does on your skin as well, which is amazing, and the frankincense. It smells fantastic. So that's something that I want you to try. All right, thank you for tuning in, everyone. So great to see you here. Rosin Ito from Wexford, Ireland. Thank you for tuning in. It's so great to have you here. Sally7273, the sun is your friend. Yes, it's my friend as well. As you can probably tell, I love to be out in the sun whenever I can, because it really does have amazing, amazing benefits for your ability to be healthy, have loads of energy, and of course, prevent all types of different diseases, which is so important. That's why I educate as much as I do here about prevention. So it's one thing that when we talk about different health topics here at the Dr. Janine Show, it's one thing to deal with something that you're suffering through. It's another thing to actually have prevention of these things going forward. Hello in Turkey. We have a few people here. Yape, Zika, and as well Clandestino. Thank you for tuning in from Turkey. It's great to have you. It is amazing that you are tuned in. And if you're new here, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you are following so that you get all of my newest and latest information. If you love what you're hearing, it's something that we do every Tuesday. So if you're new here, just so that you know, on Tuesdays, of course, we have my show, the Dr. Janine Show. That's at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we have different health topics every single week, which is amazing, okay? And of course, on Wednesdays is when we have the Q&A. So this is the hashtag Ask Dr. Janine. You can start to use that hashtag. And then you will be able to ask your questions live here on Wednesdays, which is amazing. Okay, another question? What to look for in a collagen. Okay, so here are some of the standout features that I love in a collagen. It's hydrolyzed and it's grass-fed, because a lot of the bovine collagens, and I don't like so much the marine collagens, so fish-based collagens, because of the toxicity that we know from our oceans and things. So hydrolyzed, grass-fed collagen is going to be the premium type of collagen to look for. Hydrolyzed meaning that it's already sort of pre-processed, so it's not going to cause any type of digestive upset. Grass-fed is important because collagen can tend to be higher in deuterium, and you know that I've talked about deuterium and the fact that we want to lower our deuterium levels from the outside sources, which can be high in supplements. It can be high if it's always synthetically made, but also from non-grass-fed collagen can be high in deuterium, and that's going to be a problem. It's going to slow down your mitochondria and lower your overall energy production. Okay, so that's important. Yes, okay, that's a great question about what to look for in a good quality collagen. And I like the powder ones. I just like an unflavored one. I mix it into my coffee, and it's very versatile because you can put it into your protein shakes. You can put it in your ice cream like we talked about. I bake with it. I put it in soup. It's amazing. It just disappears. You don't know that it's there, but you get all the wonderful benefits of that collagen. And it's a type 1 and type 3 collagen, which is important as well in a bovine source, because type 1 and type 3, they work cohesively together. So not only for the skin, for healthy hair and nails, but also for joints and supporting the joint tissue and your connective tissue, your fascia as well, which is important. Okay, great questions. I love these questions. All right. Yep. Okay, so CABO. Okay, so CABO is the acronym. It's not called, the product itself is not called CABO. I think my friends, my team is actually going to give you the product name of what this is that you're looking for, but it's an acronym. So C for the CABO, cloves, A, B, O. So it's just an acronym for my favorite herbs, and they're all in one formula, but I think my friends are going to give you the name of the actual formula. All right? Does that make sense? Okay, good. I didn't want to confuse you, but yeah, there we go. All right, awesome. Well, thank you to everybody who tuned in today. Make sure you do tune in on Tuesday, of course, for the live show. And we play for prizes, so it's very interactive. You can win a prize. I will announce yesterday's winner in next week's show, so make sure you are tuning in. And just, sorry? Okay, got you. Some more questions coming in. Okay, yeah. Sorry, the best time of day to take collagen? I usually take it mid-morning. So it ends up being usually after my exercise, in my coffee mid-morning, because I've talked about previously that having your coffee, I know a lot of people do this, but having your coffee very, very first thing in the morning as soon as you wake up, not only can form a dependency on the caffeine if it's regular caffeinated coffee, but it also, you won't get your added benefits of spiking up your neurons in your brain for your brain power if you do it first thing in the morning. So you can actually get better benefits for sort of boosting your brain power if you take it a little bit later in the morning. And that's what I do. I mean, everybody's different, of course, in terms of your circadian biology and what time you get up in the morning. Hopefully you're getting up close to when the sun is rising, of course, for your leptin levels, and that's really important. But yeah, you can actually benefit a little bit later with taking your coffee at that time. Thank you, everybody who's tuning in today. It's so great to have you. Nadia is putting in uncoupled versus the coupled mitochondria. Yes, that's something that we talked about yesterday. Should we do that really quickly again? Can we do the fill in the blanks? Okay, that was fun. Okay, so let's do this really quickly. Let's do a quick review. We talked about mitochondria. All right, this is interesting information. Your mitochondria, of course, produce your energy, and it's important to keep your mitochondria really happy and healthy because that is your longevity. All right, here we go. People from northern regions like Scandinavia typically have what type of mitochondria? All right, do we have this one up now? Yes, okay, Nadia, I know you've already put it in here. Yes, Eva, you got it, uncoupled, right, uncoupled. And this becomes important in our next couple of fill in the blanks. Let's go to the next one. All right, here we go. This is so that they can make more what? To keep them what? All right. Gigi, who? You have no idea what's going on. That's okay. Just continue to follow. You're going to learn. You're going to learn. You're going to learn. Yes. Okay. How and why is this important? Uncoupled mitochondria. Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Ranjit is right on. Yep. Your haplogroup. Yep. That is getting a lot more complicated there. Absolutely, doctor. Love that. Okay, here we go. I'm still waiting. I think there's a delay on some of the things. So why do we have, yes, okay, I see it over here. Right, Elsie Castles, good job. Go back. Thank you. Here we go. To make more body heat. Okay, so body heat to keep them. So think about people who live in a more northern climate to keep them warm. Right, exactly. Good job. And then let's go to the next one. So we're talking about mitochondria if you're just tuning in right now. Uncoupled mitochondria if you're not, so if your mom, has to do with your mom because you get all your mitochondria from only one parent and it's your mom. So your mom's mom, and where they are from is going to determine usually how your mitochondria are. Okay, next one. Thank you. These people do very well to use what exposure as part of their health routine? What type of exposure are we talking about? Something that we talk about here. Yes. Yes, Elsie Castles is right on the money today. Good job. Cold exposure, of course. So we want to keep our cold exposure doing that. Yeah, it's a great thing to do. And especially if you have an uncoupled haplotype, as I do, because my family coming from Northern Europe. All right, so I hope that helps you. That's great for your metabolism, great for fat loss, great for your energy levels, great for your immune system, especially if you are uncoupled. All right, Raina, yes, awesome job. Okay, so that was a little review. Hey, if this is confusing to you for the first time, don't worry. Those were a little bit more complicated fill in the blanks, but I'll continue to test you a little bit, all right? And like I promised that so my team has to remind me, one of my quiz questions for next week's show is going to be based on my content, not on what we're going to talk about in the live show. So I'm going to try to trick you again, maybe. We'll see. I know you're all so smart, all right? So thank you for tuning in today. It's so great to have you here in the live Q&A. Make sure that you tune in on Tuesday for the Dr. Janine Show. Remember, that's at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, as you can see behind me. And have a great few days, great weekend, everyone. Get outside, get some more sun, as I always say, and be happy, be healthy, and spread the good news about what we do here at the Dr. Janine Show. So I'm so honored to always have you all tuning in. Love you all, and we'll see you soon. Bye.